In the last 14 years, I've sold hundreds of homes all over the city. And while you really get frustrated with market reports that talk about the average sale prices of the homes going up in value, you see it may only mean that people are either buying more expensive homes or the fact that 5 mega houses sold last month and increased the market average or the statistic. That's why I created this special report where I talk about the average sales price per square foot. To see if the average sale price per square foot goes up in value, that means people are paying more for houses. Secondly, I like to look at the inventory supply, meaning I like to look at how many homes are available now in different areas versus what sold last month. If you're a buyer, it'd be great to know that if there's 2 times more homes available than sold last month, then you're in a great position to negotiate your best price. Secondly, if you notice as a seller that there's half as many homes available now as sold last month, well, you might be in a good position to get a great price.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. Okay, so when we look at the inner city for November, we had 212 sold listings, and those were priced between $699 and $812, and they were selling at $457 a square foot, where the median prices where most buyers are buying, and the average was $492. Now, compared to the previous month, you can see that the prices are actually a little bit down from where they were. October was 286 sales, so more sales and a little bit higher prices. Now per square foot. Now, having said that, and you see here, it looks a little bit different, and these numbers can always be opposite to each other. The median price where most of the buyers are buying is around $660, but they were getting more per square foot. So the prices are actually, when you see the average numbers, that it always means that essentially these average sale prices don't mean much, because it could mean that people are just buying more expensive homes. So it's always a good thing to consider. Now, when we look at how the previous year was, sales are actually down this year compared to 249 sales last year. So, and the prices there were, in the median was $437 a square foot to $466 was the average of the previous year, and buyers were buying properties priced at listed at $599 for $592. So prices are definitely up. Now, when we look at the inventory supply, 732 active listings and 212 sold from the previous month. So we got over a 3-month supply left on the market, and those are higher priced than where the buyers were looking. The buyers were looking for properties priced between $699 and $812 for the most part, and the sellers, they're sitting at $874 to $1.1 million. And when we look at the average price per square foot, we're looking at $560, and where the buyers were, as $492 is where they were buying, and they were looking at properties priced at $504 a square foot. So what's left on the market is priced higher per square foot and is higher end listings. Now, when we look at the inner city, we look at what's available versus what's sold, you can see here that it's a close race between what's sold here at $400 to $450. It was 20 sales, and there's 24 available currently. And when you go all the way up to a little bit over supply, up from 550 to 600, because there's 11 sold and 32 available. And as we go up, it's even worse. So when we look at the over $1.5 million crowd, there's 12 homes sold last month and 132 available. So just 10% of the homes are selling. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. Okay, so moving on to the northwest, 296 sold listings in November, and they were priced between $299 and $323 a square foot. Now, when we look at how that fared to last month, prices have definitely changed a little bit here. So the average is about the same, but 387 sold listings. So October was actually a really good month, and we're seeing that even in the northwest. Now, when we look at the averages, I guess they're not very far off, And when we look at the previous year, 300 sold listings in the previous November. So last year, about the same as this year for sales, but prices are a different story. 275 a square foot was where most buyers were buying at the median price, and 291 was the average. Now we look at the inventory supply. We can see that 478 sold active listings currently in the Northwest, and 296 were sold. And where they're priced at, between 313 and 345. What that means is there's some properties that are available for buyers. Having said that, the median price is 559 and to 639 average price, and so the buyers are looking for properties a little bit less than that. So if you're a buyer looking in the area, you're going to find that what's available is actually a little bit bigger than what you're looking for, and the square footage price is actually a little bit higher on the average what's left on the market. Now we look at the inventory supply, we'll see that from 400 to 450, very active market. Okay, and there's more sales than currently available, especially in 350 to 400, and then 300 to 350 there's a very close race. And then we start to look at a more stable market, 450 to 500, and pretty hot and close at 500 to 550. But then as we go up here, there's more and more of oversupply as we go along here. So on the higher end group, I would say that 550 to 600, we've got a bit of an oversupply situation there. 600 to 650, not so much. But in this group here above 550, it's not as active, that's for sure. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. So moving on to that southwest, west of Sarcee area, that has 60 sold listings in November. And when we look at the October sales, 71 sales. Now the prices were a little bit higher in November per square foot. 340 in October was the median where most of the buyers were buying, and they were 353 on the average. So when we look at the sales for November, prices up per square foot. We look at where the buyers were buying, pricing is a little bit very close to being the same. Now we've compared to last year, about a few more sales in November, actually 72 compared to 60 this year. So, but the price is much different. 316 and was the median where most of the buyers were buying, and 340 was the average. Now we look at the inventory supply, 190 active listings. So we have about 3 months supply there. The properties that are currently available are priced between $969 and $1.2 million, and they are 2,500 to 2,600 square feet. So we have a large supply of high-end listings out there, and they are priced higher than where the buyers are actually looking, from $399 to $818 a square foot. So we've got a lot of inventory up there that's really high end. It's not moving as fast. Now we look at the inventory supply here. 500 to 550. I mean, there's no sales on the lower end, almost nothing, and it shows that the market, even Coach Hill and these older areas, they're actually not that active because some of the prices might be in there. So nothing really happening. No listings, no sales. 550 and 500 to 550, we've got more sales than available. And here we've got an oversupply from 550 to 6, an oversupply here. This is a little bit of a closer race here from 650 to 7. And we've got an oversupply in a lot of markets, but it looks like it's pretty good between 800 and 850. And then, oversupply in most of the other sectors. And now we'll move to the deep south. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenzie-Town, all these south areas. Now we look at the deep south, 348 sold listings in November, and they were priced between $285 and $299 a square foot. Sale price between $450 and $498, whereas where most of the buyers were at. And when we look at the previous month, 392, so October was definitely better, and the pricing was a little bit better in October as well. Properties selling even on a higher on the average price and the median price, and the price per square foot was higher. And they were on average a little bit smaller, about the same. Let's just say that's about the same. So when we look At the previous year, 312. So people are, it's more active than last year in November. And the prices are definitely up per square foot, 263 to 276 a square foot. So when we look at the inventory supply, 510 active listings, which means that a little over a month and a half supply, which was one of the lower groups of the supply. So that means that's a pretty active market there. And what's available is priced at 297 to 327 a square foot. Buyers were looking between 288 and 304, so it's fairly close. But what's left on the market is priced higher, 539 to 637, where the buyers were looking at properties from 455 to 506. So if you're one of these buyers looking at something at 450,000, there's not much available in the current market. There's very, very little. Now, when we look at the supply from the chart here, we can see that from 350 to 4, when you see this dark line over top of the other one, means that there's more. They're selling very, very fast. That means that they're selling in less than a month. There's more sales than available. More sales than available. And closer race between 400 and 550. And then we got a huge oversupply between 500 and 550. And then we've got a fairly close race between 500, 550 and 600. 30 sales and 44 available. And then we've got mostly, that's fairly close. That's not. And not much happening on the higher end. So in the higher end group, there's more or less a more stable market, but more of a supply for buyers. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. So in the northeast, 203 sold listings in November, and they were priced between 313 and 314 a square foot, and the average sale prices were 360 to 367. Now when we look at how that compared to the previous month, 261 sales, so sales are down a little bit, and they were priced between 299 and 305, meaning that they're getting sold less homes in November, but they were also higher priced now per square foot, and a similar size too. So looks like what was left on the market, people were willing to pay a little bit more for. Now, in the last year, it was 212 sold listings in November, so it's a very similar month, and 272 a square foot. So prices definitely were down, and things are up over last year for sure. Now we look at the inventory supply. 300, we actually got not even 2 months supply, so it's still more of a seller's market down there, and 313 a square foot was the median where the buyers were at, and they're looking at properties at 320 now. That's currently what's available. So what's left on the market is a little bit higher within where the buyers were really looking. If you see from 384 to 404. So when we look at the inventory supply, though, we'll see that we've got 200 to 250. More sales than currently available, and from 250 to 300, fairly close race, and then from 300 to 350 we've got 2 times the supply, and from 350 to 400 we've actually got a fairly close race there, and then we've got an oversupply and everything else. Now we look at the total market here, and we're including condos and everything else. All unit sales we had in November last year 2273, and this year 2352, so around 120 more sales overall. And when we look at the median price was 416, and last year it was 403. So we're up a little over 10,000 on the average price. And as we went through the price per square foot, we can see that the price per square foot are up as well. So, and we're up on our average price a little bit. Interestingly enough, 462 last year and 468 this year was our average prices. So we can see here that the inventory is dropping. Last month it was 8,200 listings. Now we're down to 7,300 listings. And last year we had 6,700 listings. So we have more properties available this year than we had last year in November.
Before I was in real estate, I was in the advertising business, and back in 2000 when I started, I wasn't really sure where I was going to start. I talked to a few people, and some people said, why don't you start with the homes that other agents couldn't sell? And because you have a lot of advertising experience, they said, you've been testing ads with companies and businesses and improving the response rate. Maybe you can do that on an individual basis with clients who want to sell their homes. So that's really where I started. And, I learned so much from doing that. I learned about all the things that people felt that were going wrong with the process, that they weren't happy. I listened to a lot of unhappy stories. And I was able to take over those situations and turn them around for a lot of people. And I'll never forget that first client that I had that were so elated that they were moving along with their plans. And I thought, wow, I really helped some people. I got a real testimonial here, and I got paid too. Like, that was a side benefit. It was so awesome.